I began meditating with Sri Chinmoy in 1999. And when I was young, I was really interested in meditation. I read a few books and people talked about all the great experiences you could have meditating. But when I tried on my own, I have to admit I was a bit disappointed. It was a bit harder than the books made it out to be. I was hoping for all these great experiences and nothing that much happened. But when I started following Sri Chinmoy's meditation, one thing he suggested is to try to meditate on the heart, meditate on the spiritual heart. He said it's a bit like we're having two rooms. We've got the mind room and the heart room. And in the mind room, that's where all we do our thinking, all the thoughts that are produced, the worries, the anxieties, and all the kind of stuff that goes through our mind. And when we meditate there, it's really quite difficult. If we've got tremendous willpower, we can really force the mind to be silent, but it's almost like fighting a losing battle. It's like straightening the tail of a dog. You straighten it and it springs back. Same with the mind. You try to be quiet for a few minutes and it just wants to produce thoughts. So the alternative is just to leave the mind completely and try to put your awareness, your concentration, your sense of being in the spiritual heart. And after a few weeks, a few months of trying that form of meditation, you do start to feel a shift in awareness, a shift in consciousness. And when you can feel you're in the heart, then meditation becomes a lot more fruitful, a lot more successful, you could say, because there the mind is much less powerful, much less influential. You may be aware of some thoughts kind of above, but they're much less, they don't affect you quite as much because you're somehow gone to a different place where thoughts are much less powerful. And it's in the heart that you can much more easily feel a sense of oneness, a sense of peace, a sense of love. So if you meditate on the heart, you kind of can almost feel the awakening of that heart center, that psychic center. And this has its own power that enables you to really make progress in meditation. And one of the paradoxes of meditation, what I always say when giving a class, is that meditation, we need to make a lot of effort to get to that effortless place. What I mean by that is that there is a part of us that can spontaneously meditate, that finds meditation very natural. And unfortunately, we kind of lost the key to get to that place. But that key is really in the heart. And if we can get away from the mind, get into the heart, then we get to that place where meditation is almost spontaneous and it kind of flows. So you're not really making an effort, you're just kind of being aware of that heart center, which is kind of meditating for you. So that's been a great boon, in my own meditation. And another thing I learned meditating with Sri Chinmoy was the use of music, spiritual music. I had this idea that meditation was just all about silence, but the right kind of music, soulful music, can elevate your meditation. It can bring to the fore that psychic being, that psychic sense. And when I listen to Sri Chinmoy playing the flute or singing in particular, that really helps me to get into that meditative space. Even if I'm not feeling particularly energized to meditate, music can kind of elevate your sense of being, your sense of consciousness, and take you to that more meditative place. And it's worth bearing in mind that meditation is not all about technique. It's not a scientific thing. One of the key aspects of meditation is what Sri Chinmoy calls aspiration, being a cry, this devotional sense of growing into something more divine, something more beautiful, more transcendental. And music can help to elevate those, you could say, divine emotions. And it's not just about listening to music. I've learned a few of Sri Chinmoy's songs, not a particularly great singer, but singing a song soulfully when you know it off by heart can be in its own way a meditative experience. The songs embody spiritual qualities, and when you sing, you're fully immersed in that moment. You're fully immersed in the music. You haven't got time to think, and you can just sing from the heart. And that can be a very meditative experience itself. Another thing I learned meditating with Sri Chinmoy was just that it was really helpful to know somebody who had really excelled in meditation when I first came to meditation classes, I saw a few photos of Sri Chinmoy, and I felt that this was someone who'd really gone deep in meditation. I didn't quite understand where he'd gone or whatever, but I felt this was someone who had really was expressing the qualities of meditation through his eyes, through his face. And I had a chance to meditate with him in person, and it was always very elevating, because when you're in the presence of someone who can meditate well, it kind of helps your own meditation. And I think also when you start to meditate, you can have a lot of doubt. How far can you actually go in meditation? What can it actually do for you? So if you know somebody who has really mastered meditation and can go very deep, then it's inspiring, because you think, well, if Sri Chinmoy can do it, if other meditation teachers can do it, so can I. And so it's always good to know and associate other people who meditate. Also, another thing about meditation with Sri Chinmoy is that to Sri Chinmoy, meditation was quite a broad concept. I mean, obviously the most important thing is the silent meditation you do on your own. But to Sri Chinmoy, meditation could be more than that. In that, for example, even if we're involved in, say, sport or running or cycling, we can try to do that in a meditative consciousness. If we concentrate, if we're aware, if we keep our mind on something positive like a mantra, or trying to get into that flow, then we can try to bring the quality of our meditation into that activity. And if you get involved in, say, long distance running, like many students of Sri Chinmoy do, then that gives you the chance to kind of go beyond the usual thoughts of the mind and get into this flow. I used to do a few cycle races, and often these were quite short, like 3 or 4 minutes, some of them racing up a hill. And before racing, I would try to bring to the fore the kind of the qualities of meditation. I would maybe meditate in my car, try to visualize a race, try to concentrate, try to get into that meditative space. And I remember one big race, national championship, really wanted to win or at least get on the podium. So before the race, I was meditating and visualizing and trying to get into that meditative flow. I didn't want any thoughts. I just wanted to be able to really get into that flow of cycling, but with bringing to the fore the inner power, the inner concentration. So anyway, I get to the start line and you're sent off. And almost straight away, the mind went completely blank. And I was doing this race for about 3.5 minutes. And during that time, I had no thought at all. It was absolutely fantastic. I wish all my meditations could be like that. But for something within me just kind of got into that meditative flow. And it was a really exhilarating experience. I really had a lot of joy doing that race. I mean, my body was in pain, muscles screaming. But I kind of gone beyond that usual sense of mind. And just felt this exhilarating experience doing the race. And the irony is that I actually finished 4th, just outside the medals, just by a few seconds. But I didn't really mind, because I had such a good experience doing the race, such a good meditation, that it was kind of a different kind of compensation. You can't always win, especially as you get older, but meditation shows that you can get joy wherever you come. And this philosophy of Sri Chinmoy, trying to bring meditation into everyday life, can have many applications. For example, a big part of his path is something called selfless service. And this is just working with a kind of a spiritual approach to it. Selfless service really means working without expectation. So when we work, we try to do it in a meditative consciousness. Feel it as a self-offering, a self-giving spirit. And if you get into that spirit of self-giving and concentration, then it can be a very rewarding experience. I mean, usually we think of work as kind of drudgery and something to get through. But spirituality, Sri Chinmoy says, try to have a completely different attitude. So when you go to work, even if it's washing the dishes at home, you try to do it in a positive approach, a silent mind. And it can really be quite a powerful experience. I mean, we can't at this stage meditate for hours and hours on end. But when we do our work or our activities, we can try to see this as an opportunity to be in a more meditative frame of mind. Now, we need both. We need that silent meditation where we develop our skills to be silent in meditation. But also we can bring in these other aspects of meditation that we can do in all different aspects. So meditation doesn't have to be limited. Sri Chinmoy says meditation is really about raising our consciousness. And anything that raises our consciousness brings to the fore peace, happiness and goodwill, it is a part of that meditative experience. So it's something we can always try whatever we're doing. So those are just a few things that I've kind of learned meditating with Sri Chinmoy. I'm sure there's a lot more, but 25, 26 years, and it's always something new. And that's another thing actually about meditation, that it's not static. You don't get to a certain point and then that's it. Meditation is almost like you get to the edge of a vast ocean, and at the moment we're just dipping our toes in the water. But the great thing is we can swim out as far as we want. We just need to practice becoming better swimmers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot.